Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. You know the drill with these videos. Today we go over every single interaction with Ashe's and Bob's abilities and how they interact with certain other abilities in the game. Hacks, stuns, slams, smashes, you name it, we test it. Not only do we have to test the dynamite ability and the shotgun, we also have a whole new ultimate that has so many weird interactions that's worth pointing out. But before we get to Bob, we need to go through all of the interactions with the dynamite and also with the shotgun. So let's get straight into it. We'll start with the tanks, then go onto the DPS and then onto the supports. We'll start with the shotgun and dynamite interactions first. One thing about the shotgun is you can use the knockback against nothing. So if you get knocked off of a map, you can shotgun the air and knock yourself back onto the platform you just fell off. What happens if Reinhardt charges at you and you try and shotgun him? Well, the interactions tend to be pretty different no matter what, but you can get away by knocking him up in the air or knocking yourself back. It's kind of the same for the hook for Roadhog 2, you can get out of it. One other thing that I did want to highlight, much like Brigitta's whip shot, if a Winston tries to dive on you, then you can actually knock him back, it knocks him further into the air, but most importantly, it's a great disengage. For D.Va, can she eat your dynamite and your shotgun? Yes, but the shotgun is an interesting one as Ashe still gets the knockback. So even though you eat up all of her bullets, she can still get away from you with it, which I think is a little bit strong, but who knows at this point. Orisa's Fortify doesn't cleanse the effect of the fire dot. It does less damage, sure, but that's also done to the armor too, so it doesn't really do much there. But it does stop her being knocked back by the shotgun, but again, Ashe can get away with the disengage effect. It seems that no matter what the ability, Ashe will always get knocked back with her shotgun, no matter how much you try and shut it down. Dynamite is really good for clearing out Wrecking Ball's mines actually, so it was more of a thing that I wanted to highlight as being really good if you wanted to try it out, but it certainly seems a great way to just clear off some of the mess. Of course, you won't get dynamites that quickly as these are custom lobby settings, but you get the idea. It's quite good there. One interesting thing about Wrecking Ball is the fact that you can knock him about quite a lot. Again, with your shotgun, you're not going to get it this often, but it does give you a good impression of the ragdoll effect of Hammond's knockback. Like, he gets knocked around like a beach ball. It's actually ridiculous. So if you want to stop a Wrecking Ball in his tracks, then Ashe is also a really good idea there. Zarya doesn't gain charge from any of the fire damage done from dynamite. Granted, she probably will from the initial explosion, but what it does is it does cleanse the effect for you and anybody else that you put it on. So just to reiterate, you can't take that fire damage and use it to gain energy. Instead, you just cleanse the effect off yourself and other people. You cannot kill other Ashe's dynamites and they can't kill yours, even if you're on the same team, you know, like people are on the PTR with multiple heroes. So do bear that in mind, the only one you can kill is your own. Coach Gun doesn't actually knock Bastion out of turret form because nothing really does, let's be honest, but again, it does knock Ashe back. The Doomfist interaction was a bit of an inconsistent one to say the least. Some of the time you did get knocked back a little bit, but as you've seen in the bottom, the amount of damage is quite small, but then sometimes the Ashe head does quite a lot of damage to me, but doesn't knock me off my trajectory. Much like Doomfist's punch anyway, it has a lot of inconsistencies with how it interacts with other targets, as you're seeing on screen now. You can use your ultimate to actually get away from the fire damage so you can't die whilst you're in ult form, but if you are on fire and about to die, use your ultimate, you will survive. Genji can deflect both the dynamite and the shotgun. However, there's a really cool interaction I did want to highlight in this part of the video. Ashe can take damage from her own dynamite, both the explosion and the fire damage following. However, you take less damage than your target would. Let's say you and a Genji are both stood in the detonation of the dynamite and the fire damage. The Genji will take 175 damage in total and you will only take 87. But that's Blizzard going easy on you, saying it's your dynamite, you should take less damage than your target. However, that changes if Genji deflects the dynamite back at you. Instead, he takes less damage because the game is registering him as being the one throwing the dynamite. So he takes the 87 damage and you, as the Ashe that gets your dynamite deflected, take the full brunt of the damage that you usually wouldn't take. So do bear that in mind, you can die to this quite easily. So be very, very careful of Genjis and deflects. It can do a lot of damage. The shotgun, the Genji doesn't take any damage from, and the Ashe goes twice as far as she usually would, so you have to be very careful again that you not only take a good bunch of damage, but also that you don't get thrown off a map. Reaper can use his Ray form to get out of the dot fire effect, which is fine, and you cannot teleport dynamite. Just worth noting. At least we can get it to work, I'm not too sure. All of your abilities when you are nano boosted do more damage. We'll get onto Bob in a second. As I said before with Genji, the dynamite explosion and fire damage does in total 175 damage, but when nano boosted, it does 256. it can be broken down like this. The initial explosion damage was 75 for a normal dynamite explosion, it goes up to 112 when nanoboosted, and the ticking damage goes from 100 to 144. So even a ticking fire damage does more damage when you yourself are nanoboosted, at least from the point of throwing the dynamite. The same as for the shotgun, it does a little bit more damage, but it doesn't send them further away. Now we get onto Bob. Can he run off a ledge just on his own? Yes, he can. And the enemy team cannot get ultimate charge from firing at him. Going through the heroes, Reinhardt charging into a running Bob. Both of them hit the ground much like two Reinhardts charging into each other would happen. Earthshatter you can get away with, but be careful for being knocked up in the air. Dribs gets off very lightly here, but you can imagine how this can go very wrong. Reinhardt can charge Bob if he's in a stationary position, but I'm not quite sure if you can sideswipe him whilst he's running. And just to reiterate, you having your shield up as Reinhardt does absolutely nothing. Bob will knock you up in the air, turn around and start doing fire at you. We'll go over how far he runs and how fast very shortly when we get to Lucio. A Roadhog can hook and whole hog a Bob quite easily. It's fairly straightforward for him. Primal Rage, exactly the same. You can knock back Bob quite a distance, but bear in mind he does pack a punch. Orisa can fortify to not be knocked up in the air, and she can halt him into positions. Worth noting if you want to play a bit more Orisa into this. And also, just to note that Bob actually does kill the Bongo if the Bongo is his only target. Bob will just run straight through Wrecking Ball's mines and actually kill them one by one. That's a good old butler right there. Zarya can graviton a Bob, pull him into positions that he usually wouldn't go. So in a lot of these interactions, he works exactly the same as a normal hero would. Bob versus Bob, let's see who wins this one. It pretty much is the same as Reinhardt. They both run into each other and then start doing damage. It's still quite funny to watch. Bastion doesn't get knocked up in turret form because nothing knocks him out of turret form, but he will just take a big brunt of damage at Bob. Might be a good counter to Bastion, who really knows? Doomfist trying to punch into a Bob will knock him back to the ground too, and as you've seen with the Doomfist here, you can do all of the usual stuff that Doomfist can do, but Bob for the most part will win out those 1v1s. Can Genji just deflect a Bob? Not really, he gets knocked up in the air, takes the same amount of damage. It's the first time that Genji's deflect really doesn't do anything to that kind of attack. And dashing through him, he doesn't get knocked up in the air, but he still takes the same amount of damage. So overall, that seems to be the better thing to do in that situation. But it's not great for a Genji. Can you see Bob through a sonar arrow? You can. So he can just sort of hide here and wait until he goes away. Bob can be trapped by Junkrat Mine and also knocked around with a concussive mine, but do bear in mind that if he runs straight through one, he will destroy it. McCree can stun a running Bob right in his tracks, but sometimes that might not be the best option, to be honest. High Noon does get Bob, but I do bet a good amount of money that he will finish you off before you can him. Whilst testing out stuff, we went over the thing that people are talking about, that you cannot use the shotgun to knock yourself down. Instead, it knocks you back in some regards. You're sort of seeing the trajectory there, but really doesn't work if you want to go down. Bob does run into Ice Block, doesn't knock it up, doesn't do anything, just stops where he is. And for Blizzard and May Freezing, it does affect Bob. He's still susceptible to being frozen. Farah can still concussive mine Bob around and also knock him with the splash damage briefly, but again, Farah isn't going to enjoy this matchup at all. I am 100% sure we'll do a denied when we have a bit more info on him. Does Tactical Visor hit Bob? It most definitely does. I'm pretty sure his aim hack is a lot better than yours. Hack is an interesting one, straightforward. You actually just shut down Bob altogether. You can stack that and then use EMP to keep that going. But also what is worth adding is when Bob is running, you can hack him and he stops where he is. But honestly, I just wait until he hits the ground, then hack him because it wastes a bit more time. Bob against Symmetra is a bull in the China shop. You will destroy the teleporters and the turrets if you run through them, but just to double check, you can kill the turrets by just aiming up stuff. So if he hasn't got a target, he will clear them out for you because he is the best guy. Infosight also works with Bob, you can see where he is, but I also have a feeling that he can see you where you are. He's honestly like the Predator, but just a little bit cuter. Anna can sleep and anti-nade Bob. Definitely sleeping him, maybe anti-nading not the right thing to do, if you want to wake him up at least anyway. Brigitte can activate her healing passive off of him, smash him around and whip shot him, he still moves the same. Lucio can still boop him, but honestly if I was Lucio I'd be running the opposite way. Moira can still throw out damage orbs, and Zenyatta can discard Bob too. But now how do heroes interact with Bob instead of against him? Before that though, I did want to test if you can interrupt Ashe while she's trying to bring out Bob, and it just didn't seem to be happening. It seems that no matter what you can get that ultimate out, even if a Brigitte stuns you as you're doing it. So worth noting you can't screw up in this fashion. Eraser Supercharger does affect Bob for even more damage, considering that this also stacks with Nano Boost. Put all of that on Bob, you've got one hell of a damage output. Zarya can also shield Bob, protecting him a little bit. We should all be protecting him to be honest at this point. You can throw Bob for a teleporter as well. He runs for it automatically, you don't need to press the interact button, but you can only seemingly do it once. After that, he refuses to move anywhere. You can nano boost him, most people work that out fairly early on. Brigitte can give him a shield pack and also use rally on him to up his health to about 1400 or so. Lucio could use sound barrier and amp it up and heal them up. just like any normal character. And this is the distance that Bob runs on his own. You've seen it from the Lucio's perspective. This is the furthest we can get him to run where he actually stops. However, Lucio can speed boost him, not only to make him run faster, but also to make him run farther, as you're seeing on screen now. I kind of brain farted a little bit here, but Moira most likely can heal Bob with one of her healing orbs, as Zenyatta can use his Harmony Orb on Bob too, just to keep him alive. And that goes over all of the interactions that we covered here. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know which ones surprised you in the comments below. And if we missed any interactions or questions that you do have, put them in the comments below and myself and Miska will be sure to answer them. Thanks for watching. Hopefully see you soon. Enjoy playing Ashe on the PTR. Take care and we'll see you then.